Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is John J. Gaming on the mic, coming at you with another episode of the Cincinnati Royals here on NBA 2K21. Last time out, we left with us being eliminated in the Eastern Conference playoffs and the Golden State Warriors winning the NBA Finals in 5 games. So I got planned for you guys here today. We're going to have the off-season leading into year 3. So it's going to be a good one, so make sure you smash that like button as well as hit subscribe if you do have to be brand new. And something that I wanted to try to do, I've been looking around the NBA, and this is what my plan is going into the offseason, man. One player that I really want to get is Damien Willard. He may be an aging player, he's about 32 years old, but that being said though, this is a guy that is still a superstar in the NBA, and if we somehow manage to get Damien Willard, he could be a guy that could take us over top and help us be contenders for an NBA championship in next season. Only thing you gotta do is make sure that if we do swing for a trade for his superstar, Valabidi, absolutely untouchable. For Rookie of the Year from last season, he had a heck of a year. He ended up averaging 17 and 10 in the regular season, but in the playoffs he really showed his true potential. 24 points, 10 rebounds, also had nearly 6 assists as well, and shooting 60% from the field as well. On top of that, this is a guy that could be a star in this league, but at the same time though, there's a few guys that I'm okay with getting rid of. 2 of those guys is Trey, Lyles, and Zach Collins. That's mostly for, cap purposes. Here's a guy that didn't really see much action in the playoffs at all. He had a grand total of 1 assist and 3 rebounds and only played in a couple of games, but this is despite the fact that the dude is getting paid close to $7 million, and the same could be said for Zach Collins as well. He's getting paid $8.5 million, and I don't think he even made an appearance in the playoffs. Oh, he did score 4 points over the course of 3 games. So again, guy that kind of comes in towards the end of the season or towards the end of the game, and Zach Collins is getting paid a little too much. Same thing could be said for D'Anthony Melton. He was a key piece for us back in season 1 for the rebuild, but here in season 2 with the addition of Malik Beasley, just a guy that kind of fell out of our rotation, and we're also getting paid $7 million. So I think we're going to go ahead and try to move D'Anthony Melton as well. But now we'll go ahead and check out the rookie report, and specifically check out the rookies that did play over the course of this season. And starting off on the Milwaukee Bucks, we have Tariq Wellgana. Tariq Wellgana, he was the 13th overall pick in this year's draft, and he had a pretty solid year, man. 14 points a game, and doing so, he had shot about 50% from the field and nearly 50% from the three-point line as well. This is also with a close to 90% field goal percentage. Needs to work on the passing, but he had a very promising first season. On the Chicago Bulls, there was Brian Horn, the 6th overall pick from Gonzaga. He only averaged 8.5 points per game in the regular season, but when he played in the playoffs, this dude played pretty darn good. He played scoring 15 points a game for the Chicago Bulls team, a team that was competing for an NBA championship, and doing so shooting 60% from the field. Can he get that 3-point percentage up? We'll just have to wait and see. Brian Horn had a really good year as well. Jab Barker was on the Los Angeles Clippers here in his first season in the NBA. He didn't get much run this year though. He still needs to develop some. He averaged 2 points a game and 1 rebound, but did not shoot well from the floor whatsoever. He shot less than 20% from the floor and less than 15% from the free throw line, and he's definitely a developmental guy. He played in 4 games this season, started in 1, but he definitely has some things that he needs to work on if he wants to stay in the NBA. Julio Rockford is a 5'5" point guard from Bowling Green, and he actually got to start. He played in 82 games and started in 82 games, and he had some growing pains as well on this rebuilding Utah's Jazz squad. He had 10 points a game and had 3.5 rebounds and 3.5 assists, but shot less than 40% from the field and almost less than 30% from free. And that's with a 65% free throw percentage as well. A guy that will also need to develop. Hopefully they stick with him as a long-term answer at the point guard position. Gary Jenkins was one of the best players to play in the NBA in their rookie campaign. Gary Jenkins almost having a double-double throughout the course of the season, shooting 55% from the field and 70% from the free throw line. The third overall pick was in the running for the Rookie of the Year award. He's definitely a nice center for the New York Knicks. The Orlando Magic, meanwhile, actually had 3 custom recruits drafted onto the team. Jonathan Falzon made the biggest contribution, though, the 19th overall pick, averaged 7 points and 5.5 assists per game. In doing so, he played in 12 games, so he got a little bit of run and got some things to work on, but the talent is certainly there for a first-round pick. Miami Thomas also saw the 4 as well. He averaged 4.5 points and 3.2 assists a game, but this was a guy that got a little bit more playing time. He played in all of 82 games and even started in 8 as well. On the other hand, Rocket Wolf did not do much at all in his first season in the NBA. He averaged 1.5 minutes per game. He averaged half an assist, and this was a guy that only played in 2 games. It'll be interesting to see if he can stick around in the NBA going forward. The Denver Nuggets also had 2 custom recruits. Rigoberto Ramirez Jr., one of the more notable customs. He only shot 40% from the field, but he's a guy that could be a little bit of a Swiss Army knife, averaging 11.5 points per game and close to 5 rebounds. Definitely an athletic guy to watch out for. Also a guy to watch out for in this Nuggets team is Christopher Knight-Tierley, the 23-year-old. It was a second-round pick in this year's draft from Iowa State, but he didn't have too bad of a season. 8 points and 7 assists per game. Granted, he did only play in 1 game, a game in which he actually started in. This is what he did in 29 minutes. So this is just them taking a look at Christopher Knight-Tierley. He definitely has some potential. He could have a solid NBA career. We'll just have to wait and see. On the New Orleans Pelicans, Justin Chris was drafted to the New Orleans Pelicans, the 2nd overall pick. Still has a year in Canada, so the jury will still be out on him, but he looks like a guy that can really step in and make an impact for an NBA team right away. And for the OKC Thunder, we have Norris South, who is a point guard from Kerrigan. He had a pretty solid year, 13.5 points and 4 assists. This is a guy that had to step in and play right away as well. A dude that didn't start in any games but played in 82 games, so a guy that came off the bench. Honestly, a dude that was in the running for the 6th Man award and one of the better rookies that we've seen here in the NBA. This was the 9th overall pick, by the way. And the final rookie that got some playing time in the league, we have BJ Cole Jr., who was part of that championship team. PJ Cole scored 6 points, did a little bit of everything, not much though, because the Golden State Warriors is a veteran squad. He had 6.5 points, 3.7 rebounds. Did not shoot from the field very well, but he'll learn from time though. A guy that did play in 82 games this season, so he did contribute. We'll see if BJ Cole can develop from here. So now we get into player retirements, and here we do see some notable players that did retire throughout the league. Carmelo Anthony and Trevor Ariza are a couple of those guys. Carmelo was actually on the Hawks, so they could not get a ring for him before he left. Not that he did anything. He was essentially a bench guy throughout the year. Andre Iguodala, JJ Barrera, and Rajon Rondo are also guys that retire from the NBA. Danny Green is also no longer in the NBA. He announced his retirement as well. Over for staff retirements, the Kings assistant coach and Alvin Gentry, who was a former NBA head coach, he's announcing his retirement from the league as well after 32 years. Alvin Gentry, a solid African-American coach. Meanwhile, for the NBA Hall of Fame, Carmelo Anthony does make it in. He put in a lot of work, man. Over 1,100 games played, averaging 23 points per game. Definitely deserves to be in the NBA Pro Basketball Hall of Fame for sure. Carmelo Anthony, in addition, is also the only guy that is getting his jersey retired. The Denver Nuggets, for his time on the team from 2003 to 2011, is retiring number 15. No Denver Nugget will be able to wear that number ever again. So now we'll go ahead and get into the draft lottery, and this time around, we actually don't have any lottery picks. The Houston Rockets, they did make the playoffs this time around. But that being said, looks like the Utah Jazz are going to have the first overall pick, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks and the Denver Nuggets. They round out that top 3. For us, though, we have what looks like we have the 18th overall pick from the Houston Rockets, and then we also have the 20th overall pick. So we have 2 mid-first round picks to work with in this year's draft. We'll see what we can do with them. We'll see if we can package them in a deal to try to bring like a Damien Willard over here or something like that. So if I do want to go ahead and go after Damien Willard eventually, I need to free up some cap space, because as of right now, I don't really have too terribly much to work with. You know, so I think I'm going to depart with Trey Lyles. Now, they're also asking for Julio Rockford, but I'm going to try to see if we can go ahead and try to switch that up with, you know, say Zach Collins instead. We'll see if they'll be willing to take this deal or not. It'll free up $7.5 million in cap space. So we'll go ahead, try to propose this trade, see if they'll take it. And they actually come out with a counter offer. It looks like all they're going to ask for is a 2026 second round unprotected. That's fine. I don't really care for second round picks too terribly much. So we're actually going to go ahead and pull the trigger on this. So Jeremy Grant, welcome to the squad, my guy. We are welcome to have you on the team. That being said, we did get rid of both Zach Collins, and we also got rid of Trey Lyles as well, in order to go ahead and get Jeremy Grant, who seems like a stretch 4 kind of guy that can help us out here. He only has a 1-year deal as well, so if things don't necessarily work out in season 3, we can move on from him. But we'll see if there's also a market for D'Anthony Melton as well. So this is what I think is going to be the very best deal that we can find for D'Anthony Melton. So we found this guy, Hendrick Stevenson, that the Denver Nuggets are willing to go ahead and keep up. Now, they are the same overall, but seems like Stevenson, he's a lot younger. And he played a little bit more over the course of this season, man. He played in all 82 games, started in 1, and had a not so shabby year, man. 7.5 points, 3 boards, 2.5 assists. Seems like a guy that, you know, can be a nice role player for us, and he's cheaper as well, so we'll open up some more cap space as well. D'Anthony Melton, man, you know, as much as I enjoyed having on the team for the first 2 years of the Cincinnati Royals, he only played in 11 games throughout the course of the entire season. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the trigger on this deal. So Hendrick Stevenson, welcome to the squad, my guy. It was nice to have you, man. So now that we did go ahead and free up a little bit of cap space for us, we'll go ahead and see if there's any, you know, potential offers that the Portland Trail Blazers will be willing to take in order to get Damien Willard's contract off the books. And it looks like no offers are found for any selected players. Wonder if that's just for, oh no, they just really don't want to move from Josh Jackson, I guess. So we're gonna have to make a really compelling offer, but we'll figure something out when it comes to draft time. Before we do that, though, we are in serious need of a assistant DM and GM, and I want to go ahead and try to go after Oliver Solins. But the problem is, you know, we only have $225,000 available, so we might not be able to get somebody that, you know, is very good necessarily. But it is what it is, though. We'll see what we can find. So who we ended up finding a guy named Tyler Hughes. You know, isn't too great by any stretch of the imagination, but that being said, though, you know, it's the best that we could do with the limited budget. Next year we'll have more money lined up, just because we'll have a little bit more in terms of like money to go around and spend moving forward. But it looks like Tyler Hughes, he's gonna be our new assistant general manager going forward. So after the pre-draft workouts, we and the staff signs, we also took a chance and, you know, scout some players a little bit, as well as have the NBA draft combine. Something that is worth noting is that our trainer did uncover a concern with Rolf Bunch, who is a custom recruit, and something with his ankle. He doesn't think that we should draft him, so that's something we should look into. Same thing with Jamarco Pickett, who's also a custom recruit, this time with his knee. That doesn't hurt as much considering he probably will not be available when we come around to that 18th overall pick as well. And we're not really in the market for small forwards, so that's a thing as well. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into this NBA draft to see what's gonna go down, man. I can't wait to see how this draft plays out. Alright, man, so we're now here with the NBA draft. Utah Jazz, they have the first overall pick, and they're going to end up taking Zachary Williams, who is a custom recruit from Belmont. And so, very exciting time. He's going to be able to be paired up with Julio Rockford in the backcourt for the future. Milwaukee Bucks also go ahead and take Jerkavius Onyunke, who is from North Carolina, and he's going to be paired up with Tyreek Warwick, and he's going to be able to get has an enormous upside here as well. We'll see what the third overall pick is going to be, and we have Jordan Hayes. Jordan Hayes is a small forward from USC, and he's going to go with the third overall pick in this year's draft as well. And he was a bucket at USC, averaging 26 points per game. We'll see if he can develop more from his game. However, as the Washington Wizards are actually going to take the Australian Arnold Bizenbach, the 6'7", 250-pound Australian, and he didn't come up through the high school ranks in America, but played some time in Australia for a little bit, so he's ready for professional basketball for sure. Although they wonder what his ceiling is going to be, as OKC do end up selecting Miami Uegali from Clemson. He's 6'8", 205 pounds, and he looks like a guy that can certainly be a someone that could be mentored by Chris Paul. That would be a really nice move for them. He'll be groomed for that starting job for the future for the OKC Thunder. As the Detroit Pistons are now up, they pick Sikander Sai from India. He's 6'9", 250 pounds as well. And some people say this is a surprise pick, but the Pistons are really sold on the upside, and it will be interesting to see what they bring to the table in his rookie year. Meanwhile, for the seventh pick, Brian Kerrigan from Alabama A&M. He is selected to go to the New York Knicks. He's going to be paired up with fellow custom recruit Gary Jenkins, and he seems like a savvy guy. He has a really good effort. Being noticed from Alabama A&M, that's probably their highest pick in school history. As we now go to the 8th overall pick, Jamarco Pickett from Georgetown gets selected. He was one of the guys that our trainer did have a concern for with with the knee issues, and some people say the abdomen as well, but I guess the Raptors don't care. They like what they saw, and they're gonna go with him. Now for the 9th pick, Dakotas Patton from Buffalo gets selected for the Orlando Magic, and I thought he was gonna be like a mid-first round pick, but the Orlando Magic, they must have had him a little bit higher, and I know the Magic are certainly excited about him, but we'll see if he can live up to that. As we have the 10th pick come in, Avery Sherman, 7'7", 250 pounds from Texas Christian. Apparently a once-in-a-generational specimen. Has Gary Jenkins' size. A little bit of a unicorn, actually. As we get to that 11th pick now, we have our first non-custom Interior Lions. So at this point, I did end up noticing that the Trailblazers were next. So not only this is the moment where I think I'm going to try to be more aggressive about Damien Willard, as well as trying to see if we can get a 12 overall pick as well on top of that. So I attach Emmanuel Mudiay. He's going to be our backup point guard for us anyways. We'll see if they bite on this deal, and they are saying that's not happening, not going to work. We have a few more things that we could potentially throw in. I don't want to give up Tyrese Halliburton, because he is a nice little player for us right now. I'm just looking around to see if anybody would be that we could give up potentially. Maybe we go for Lamar Kersey. Do we trade him to try to go ahead go big right now. I think that might be the route. We'll see if they'll be willing to go ahead and take Lamar Kersey as well. We'll attach him onto the deal as well. If we don't get it, then it looks like we'll have to try to find a star through free agency. And unfortunately, that's not going to be enough. So I guess Damien Willard, he's not going to be a Cincinnati Royal. We'll go ahead and go for the rest of his draft. However, it does look like instead, though, the Trailblazers are going to trade their 12th pick, and they're going to give it to the Utah Jazz in favor of Rudy Gobert and Chris Boucher. So it looks like the Trailblazers are actually not going to give up here just yet. They are actually going to go ahead and try to pair, Damien Willard with some more talent. At least give him a pick and roll guy. So the Jazz, they now have a 12th overall pick, and they go with the center Jose Cortez, 7'6", but only 175 pounds. So his physique a little bit of concern. He needs to really hit the weight room pretty well, but Jose Cortez, they are going to pick him on Utah Jazz. Meanwhile, for the 15th pick, it looks like the Phoenix Suns are going to trade it off to the Milwaukee Bucks. And in exchange, they are going to trade Jay Crowder and Brook Lopez. So the Milwaukee Bucks will also have the 15th pick in this draft, and they pick Jay Buckingham from Alabama, sitting at 6'3" and 197 pounds. They must have been really high for him because they gave up a couple of veterans in order to bring this kid into the fold here once and for all. But now we got a couple of picks left. It looks like another custom goes. Gary Mcadoo from Houston. He's a 7'2" guy. He's going to now go up north to play for the Indiana Pacers. They like his rim protection abilities. 4.8 blocks per game is certainly nothing to laugh at. As the Sacramento Kings are now going to go ahead and make their selection. But they're also going to make a trade, and they're trading for a 2024 first round lottery protected, as well as a 2026 first round pick. So the Phoenix Suns, they actually pick up Rolf Bunch, a guy that our trainer had a concern about, but it looks like if he can stay healthy, he seems like a guy that, can be an NBA, role player, do a very good job. And now we got to figure out who we're going to go with next. So here we are with the with the draft selection screen. There's a few guys that we could go with here. But there's one guy that I have in particular, Jimothy Rowland. There's some boards that are saying that he's a late to early second round pick, or like a late first to an early second round pick. But I kind of like what I see from Timothy Rowland. Seems like a great playmaker, and he can step in and replace Kyle Guy. Kyle Guy looks like someone that is certainly ready to move on. Certainly some stuff that we need to work on with him going forward. Just like the fact that, he's not a very good defender and can't really play above the rim, just to the fact that he's only 5'6". But, a guy that we can certainly develop, and he's younger than Kyle Guy. So I'm actually think I'm going to go ahead and draft this kid and bring him onto the squad. Timothy Rowland from Loyola Marymount. Welcome to the squad, man. Welcome to the Cincinnati Royals here on NBA 2K21. And, it's about where they expected him to be. So, definitely a first round talent. And I can't wait to see what Timothy Rowland can do for us. Now, also for the 20th pick, the only thing that I really need right now is a power forward. Because we did get rid of Zach Collins and also Trey Lyles because they weren't playing for us in favor of Jeremy Grant. He's a little bit better, and he could start for us right away. But I don't really see any good power forwards left available in this draft. So I'm actually going to see what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to actually try to trade off that pick and see what we can get. So there's one of two ways I can go about it. I can trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we can get their first round pick, which would become nice for us just because we don't have a first round pick for season 3. We don't have any draft picks, matter of fact, or what I could also do as well, and I saw this as well as I was looking through the trade market, I could get Blake Griffin about it. Now, he is he's getting pretty old. He's 33 years old now, and he's got a pretty lengthy contract. He still has some athleticism. He's still above average when it comes to athleticism. So he can fit in with the style of play that we have in the 7 seconds or less offense. You know, he'll be good for transition, but my problem with him is he can't really spread the floor, and then, you know, his defense, you know, leaves a little bit more to be desired. Same thing with rebound as well, and that's just from the fact of, you know, him just getting old. I actually don't know, and he's also, I'm not a huge fan of his contract either. Almost 17 million, but man, I don't know, man. You know what? The Cleveland Cavs pick will probably be a late first round pick anyways, so we'll go ahead and just go for it. We're going to trade this first round pick for Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin, man, welcome to the squad. Welcome to the Cincinnati Royals. And then, of course, since we don't really have a need to draft anybody else, I'm just going to go ahead and trade for these 2 second-round picks in 25 and 26. You know, trade with the Houston Rockets, and they'll go ahead and agree with our trade offer as well. We'll go ahead and send to the end of the draft to see where custom prospects are drafted at. So, to go ahead and recap what we just ended up seeing here, Zachary Williams, he is the first overall pick. He's going to go to the Utah Jazz. Jacarius Adeunle, he is from North Carolina. He is going to go to the Milwaukee Bucks. Jordan Hayes, a small forward and known as a 3-point specialist. He was drafted by Denver Nuggets. Arnold Bisenbach, he is a 23-year-old Aussie going to the Washington Wizards. 5th overall pick, a Euro stash actually. He is going to be drafted by the OKC Thunder to be the point guard of the future there. Sinkander Sai, he's going to be the Detroit Pistons first round pick, and he is going to play in Detroit to replace Blake Griffin. Brian Kerrigan, he's going to pair up with Gary Jenkins over the New York Knicks. Jamarco Pickett, he is going to play with the Toronto Raptors. Dakotas Patton, the number 9 overall pick, going to play with the Orlando Magic. Avery Sherman, meanwhile, going to play for the Washington Wizards as well. That is their second first round pick, and a solid one that they made as well. Jose Cortez, a mid-range finisher, going to play for the Utah Jazz as well after trading with the Portland Trail Blazers. AJ Cotton going to go play with the San Antonio Spurs, a free level scorer there from representing Duke University. Jay Buckingham surprisingly going with the Milwaukee Bucks as well. Gary Mcadoo going with the Pacers. Rolf Bunch going with the Suns. Our guy Timothy Rowan from Loyola Marymount, a little bit of developmental project, but he is going to be playing for your Cincinnati Ryans here in Season 3. Meanwhile, Aaron Hendrick turns out to be a late first round pick as the 23-year-old from UCLA. 6'10" though, by the way. He is going to play for the Dallas Mavericks. Gary Drew becomes a late first round pick at number 31. The Texas product going to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves. As we go into the second round now, Tua Katura is going to be a 1-year stash but playing for the Wizards. Devin Parker, though, is not going to be a stash pick, the custom recruit from Colorado. The 6'9" product going to also go to Orlando to play some basketball. The 28th pick in the second round goes to LaShawn Macklin, going to play for the New Orleans Pelicans. And this man, he needs some development as a second round pick, but LaShawn Macklin, 22 years old, and was courtesy of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Chris Smoove is the second to last pick and is the final custom recruit that is selected, 70 overall, and going to the Boston Celtics. That being said, we are going to go ahead and accept Timothy Rowan's contract, and we also have a burden of team options. We have only 2 team options this season, Tyrese Halliburton and Grant Williams, and both of them are going to accept their contracts. We're going to accept both of them because I think both of them would be still good fits for our squad, and I like what both of them brought to the table overall this season, so I'm going to go ahead and accept both those deals as we find out who's going to be a free agent. And we got a couple of notable ones. Kevin Durant is going to be a free agent. Kyrie Irving is also going to be a free agent as well. Although it looks like from the team and player auctions, that is the only notable free agents on the market, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. As now we get into qualifying offers, and it looks like Tony Bradley, Josh Green, and Kyle Guy are up to debate. Now here I'm actually going to let Kyle Guy walk. We got a developmental prospect, and I think we'll see what our custom recruit has in store for us. Kyle Guy didn't really play much anyways. In his first 2 seasons, as a matter of fact, he played in 1 year, and in that 1 year, he only played in 4 games when we won less than 20 games. So I'm okay with Kyle Guy walking. Tony Bradley though and Josh Green I want to keep on the books, so we're going to extend qualifying offers. Alright, so we are here in free agency, and we do need a small forward just to go ahead and fill out the roster. I'm going to go ahead and fill out a contract with him. I'm going to extend Derrick Jones Jr. to see if he will be willing to stay on the squad. But we'll just have to wait and see though. Kevin Durant is a little bit out of our range right now, but after we get rid of some of our cap holes, we'll see if we can do something with that. That being said, at least for now, we do have Derrick Jones Jr., so we won't be able to make the splash that we wanted to in free agency, but we do at least keep for the most part the same young core together, which I do like to see. Alright, so we are most of the way through free agency, and we find out that Josh Green wants to go ahead and sign with the Orlando Magic. It wants to be for a 3-year, $46 million deal, and I think Josh Green is simply too valuable to give up. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to match that offer, and Josh Green is going to remain on the Cincinnati Royals at least for the next 3 seasons. As for Tony Bradley, he does accept the qualifying offer that we put on the table for him, so he'll be back for at least 1 more season, and we get him for $5.5 million, so not too bad. But now we'll go ahead and go into player progression to see how we're looking going into season 3. And Ron Valabidi, he's up 3 overall points, so he's now an 88 overall. His rebounding is up, his 3-point shot is up as well, his IQ is up as well. Michael Porter Jr. also making a leap. He's up 2 points as well. You love to see it. Tyrese Halliburton, he's up 3 points. Blake Griffin, takes a little bit of a dip. He can step for us. At least start for us, I should say. 80 overall guy. You love to see it. Malik Beasley is a 78 overall dude. Josh Green is now 70 overall. He can compete with Malik Beasley to potentially go ahead and compete for that starting shooting guard position. Hendrick Stevenson, he's a 77 overall. He'll see some playing time for us right away. Tony Bradley also a 77. Grant Williams, he went up 2 points this year. Let's see who else. Derrick Jones Jr. went down. That's tough to see. And then we got Timothy Rowland, who we're going to have as a developmental guy. We're going to try to develop him a little bit over the course of his next 2 years here at the Cincinnati Royals. We also have the All-Star selection as well, and it looks like it's going to be in LA once again. And another thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to keep doing auto-generate rookies because, well, I want my 2K MyLeague series to be a little bit different. I want you guys to have more say, so if you want to have a custom recruit for Season 3, do me a favor and let me know down in the comments, and I'll make sure to get your guy in for Season 3 as well. So what we found out from this season is that Ron Valabidi, he's absolutely special. 17 points and 10 rebounds in your first season. That's pretty darn good if you ask me, and for most part, he's at least above average in every single category, with the exception of perimeter defense. So for us this season, we only have 1 training camp, unfortunately. So what I'm gonna do perimeter defense, and I'm going to send Ron Valabidi there because he is the reigning rookie of the year. and we're going to send him to that training camp, and we get his stuff up a little bit, get him a little bit better. We'll see if that actually does anything to him. Looks like he's still listed as 88, and it looks like his overall perimeter defense, that stat doesn't go up, so we still got to work with that. That's something that we can touch up with his game, so that he can be a more versatile defender going forward. But I'm liking how we're developing Ron Valabidi right now. He's definitely a stud. So here we go. We have an opening game. Season 3, we start things out. We're going to take on the Golden State Warriors. They're going to be, for at least this season, their lineup is going to be Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, as well as BJ Cole and Dan Sykes, who is the 31st overall pick. He's going to make his NBA debut. It's going to be a really good one to watch. So if you're excited for it, do me a favor and please smash that like button, as well as hit subscribe if you have to be brand new to the channel. And like what you see as well, this is John Jake Game on the mic. Hoping you guys are all out there having a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.